Welcome, dear listeners, to another shadowed corner of the Throne of Nightmares. I am your host, the Weaver of Whispers, guiding you through the veils of forgotten horrors where the past refuses to die. Tonight, we delve into the abyss of the Mortlake legacy, a dynasty stained by dark secrets. Imagine, if you will, the chill of a London fog creeping through your window, carrying whispers from centuries past. The Mortlake family, once pillars of wealth and influence, now reduced to echoes in crumbling archives and half-remembered nightmares. Their story is not one of mere tragedy, it is a tapestry woven with threads of forbidden knowledge, blood oaths, and entities that hunger for the living. As the clock strikes midnight, lean closer to the flame, for what you are about to hear may stain your soul forever. Picture this: the year is 1583, and the Thames River slithers like a serpent through the heart of England. Mortlake, a quaint village on its banks, harbours a man whose ambitions pierce the veil between worlds. John Dee, the Queen's astrologer, resides in a sprawling estate, his library a labyrinth of arcane tomes. But Dee is no mere scholar. He communes with angels, or so he claims, through scrying mirrors that reflect not just light, but the abyss. It is here, in the flickering candlelight of his study, that the Mortlake legacy begins. Not with Dee himself, but with a shadow he casts unknowingly, a bastard line born of a forbidden union between his alchemical assistant and a woman said to be touched by the Fae. This child, Elias Mortlake, inherits not just a name, but a curse, a bloodline doomed to chase the secrets Dee unlocked, only to be devoured by them. As the fog thickens around us, let me draw you deeper. The Mortlake estate, perched on the river's edge, was no ordinary home. Its walls, built from stones quarried from ancient barrows, seemed to breathe with a life of their own. Visitors spoke of shadows that moved against the light, of whispers echoing from empty rooms. Elias, growing into manhood under Dee's distant influence, delved into the occult arts. He collected relics, a shard of obsidian said to hold the gaze of fallen angels, a grimoire bound in human skin that wept ink on moonless nights. But ambition breeds hubris, and Elias's experiments awakened something primordial, an entity bound to the land, a guardian spirit twisted by centuries of neglect. The first sign, a servant vanishing into the cellars, his screams swallowed by the earth. The villagers whispered of the Mortlake hunger, a famine of souls that claimed the unwary. Now, as the wind howls outside your door, imagine the weight of legacy. Elias's descendants multiplied like vines overtaking a graveyard. By the 17th century, the Mortlakes had risen to prominence: merchants, scholars, even advisors to kings. Yet each generation bore the mark, a recurring dream of drowning in ink, Blackwater's eyes watching from the depths. Theodore Mortlake, Elias's great-grandson, expanded the estate into a Gothic monstrosity, its towers piercing the sky like accusatory fingers. He hosted secret societies where masked figures chanted incantations under the harvest moon. But one fateful night in 1642, during the English Civil War's chaos, a ritual went awry, a portal cracked open, and from it slithered tendrils of shadow that ensnared Theodore's wife, Isabella. She was found the next dawn, her body withered as if aged a century, her eyes frozen in eternal terror. The family sealed the chamber, but the damage was done. The curse had taken root, feeding on their blood. Feel the chill settling into your bones. That's the Mortlake fog, seeping through time. Fast forward to the Enlightenment, an era of reason that mocked the supernatural. Yet, for the Mortlakes, reason was a fragile illusion. Amelia Mortlake, a brilliant polymath in the 18th century, sought to unravel the family's secrets through science. She dissected relics, analyzed Dee's journals, and even exhumed ancestors' bones for clues. Her laboratory, hidden in the estate's bowels, hummed with voltaic arcs and alchemical fumes. But one experiment, an attempt to summon the Guardian for interrogation, unleashed a spectral plague. Family members began to fade, not die, but vanish, first a finger, then a limb, until nothing remained but echoes. Amelia's journal, discovered years later, speaks of the unraveling, where reality frays like old thread. She vanished mid-sentence, her quill still wet with ink. As we descend further into this abyss, Consider the sensory assault, the creak of floorboards under invisible feet, the metallic tang of blood in the air, the distant tolling of a bell that no church owns. The Mortlakes, ever resilient, adapted. In the Victorian era, Reginald Mortlake transformed the estate into a sanatorium for the afflicted, a cover for occult experiments on the mad. Patients spoke of dreams shared with the family, visions of a vast, underwater city where drowned souls bargained with elder gods. Reginald's daughter Victoria inherited the mantle, her beauty a mask for madness. She married into nobility, spreading the curse like a virus. Their children bore stigmata birthmarks shaped like Dee's sigils, weeping wounds that never healed. One by one, they succumbed, drowned in the Thames, though miles from water, strangled by vines that grew overnight in their beds. The hook, dear listener, is this: the Mortlakes didn't just vanish, they were claimed. In 1923, the last known heir, Edmund Mortlake, hosted a séance to break the cycle. Witnesses reported the room filling with water that wasn't there, figures rising from the floorboards. Ancestors, twisted and vengeful. Edmund was never seen again, the estate abandoned, its gates locked against the curious. But rumors persist, lights in the windows, screams carried on the wind. Is the legacy truly ended, or does it wait, hungry for new blood? As we embark on this journey, remember, some secrets are graves and graves demand tribute. Stay with me, for the throne awaits. Gather closer, shadows of the night, as we unravel the first threads of the Mortlake tapestry. Our tale begins not in grandeur, but in the quiet rot of ambition. It is the autumn of 1579, and the air in Mortlake village hangs heavy with the scent of decaying leaves and river mud. John Dee, the enigmatic scholar, paces his study, his robes whispering against the flagstones. His scrying mirror, a polished obsidian disc, gleams under the alchemical lamps. But Dee is absent this eve. He travels to the court, leaving his assistant, Barnabas Croft, to tend the fires of knowledge. Barnabas, a man of humble birth but insatiable curiosity, steals into the forbidden library. There, amidst tomes that pulse with unnatural warmth, he encounters Elara Voss, a herbalist from the moors, rumored to commune with spirits of the wild. Their union is swift, born of shared forbidden lore. Elara, with eyes like storm clouds, whispers of ancient pacts her ancestors made with the land's guardians. Barnabas, entranced, shares Dee's secret sigils that bend reality, elixirs that grant visions. In the estate's shadowed alcove, beneath a tapestry depicting fallen angels, Elias Mortlake is conceived. But as thunder cracks overhead, Elara clutches her belly, her face paling. The hunger stirs, she murmurs. It senses fresh blood. 9 months later, Elias emerges into a world already tainted. The Thames floods that night, claiming 3 villagers. Omens, the locals say, of a dynasty cursed from the womb. Elias grows in the estate's embrace, a boy with unnaturally pale skin and eyes that seem to absorb light. Dee, upon returning, senses the irregularity but dismisses it, his mind fixed on celestial conversations. Barnabas vanishes soon after, his body found bloated in the river, fingers clutched around a shard of obsidian. Elara raises Elias alone, teaching him herbcraft and wards against the unseen. By age 12, Elias experiences his first vision, drowning in ink, black depths. Hands pulling him down, he awakens screaming, his bed soaked not with sweat, but brackish water. Elara binds his wrists with rowan twigs, whispering incantations. "The guardian claims its due," she explains. Our blood awakens it. As years unfurl like withered scrolls, Elias inherits the estate upon Dee's death in 1608. The library, once Dee's pride, becomes his obsession. He expands it, importing grimoires from distant lands, Egyptian papyri etched with curses, Aztec codices stained with sacrifice. The estate transforms, towers rise, cellars deepen, gardens twist into labyrinths where roses bloom black. Elias marries Lydia Hawthorne, a woman of noble birth drawn to his enigmatic aura. Their wedding night is marred by portents, candles extinguish in a gust from nowhere. Guests report shadows detaching from walls. Lydia conceives quickly, but her pregnancies end in horror. Stillborns with webbed fingers, eyes open and accusing, tension builds like storm clouds. In 1625, Elias attempts his first grand ritual. In the sealed chamber Dee once used, He arranges sigils in blood, his own drawn from a vein. Chanting in Enochian, the language of angels, he summons the guardian. The air thickens, ozone-scented, mirrors crack, reflecting fragmented horrors. A voice echoes, not angelic, but guttural, blood for blood, legacy for legacy. Elias collapses, awakening to find Lydia gone. Search parties comb the grounds. Her gown is found snagged on river reeds, empty. Whispers spread, the Mortlake hunger has begun. Undeterred, Elias sires children with a series of mistresses, each vanishing after birth. His son, Theodore, survives, marked by a sigil-shaped scar on his chest. Theodore, a brooding youth, inherits Elias's mania. By the mid-1600s, amid the Civil War's turmoil, Theodore fortifies the estate against both royalists and Roundheads. But his true battles are internal. Dreams plague him, ancestors rising from graves, demanding tribute. He delves deeper, experimenting with alchemy, transmuting lead not to gold, but souls to ether. In 1642, he gathers a coven 12 masked figures, each sworn to secrecy. Under a blood moon, they invoke the guardian. The ritual unfolds in visceral detail. Candles of tallow from hanged men flicker, incense of mandrake and belladonna clouds the air. Theodore's wife Isabella serves as vessel, her body painted with runes. As chants rise, the room trembles. Shadows coalesce into forms, elongated limbs, eyes like glowing coals. Isabella screams as tendrils pierce her skin, drawing essence. Dawn breaks, the coven scatters, Isabella a husk, her youth drained. Theodore seals the chamber with iron wards, but the damage lingers. Family portraits warp overnight, faces twisting in agony. The legacy spreads. Theodore's descendants multiply, merchants in London, scholars in Oxford. Each bears the mark, recurring nightmares, unexplained vanishings. In 1701, Amelia Mortlake emerges as a beacon of reason. Educated in secret, she rejects superstition, turning the estate into a laboratory. Voltaic machines hum, specimens float in jars. Yet, the past claws back, during a dissection of an ancestor's relic. A finger bone etched with sigils, she pricks herself. Blood mingles, visions assault her. She sees the guardian, a colossal entity, part serpent, part void, bound to the Thames depths since pagan times. Amelia's experiments escalate. She maps ley lines converging on Mortlake, hypothesizing the estate as a nexus. In 1756, she attempts communion via a mechanical scryer, a brass orb with crystal lenses. The device wears, images flicker, drowns cities, elder beings. But the guardian responds. Tendrils of fog seep through vents, coiling around her assistants. One fades before her eyes, dissolving into mist. Amelia's journal entries grow frantic. It unravels us, thread by thread. Our blood is the key and the lock. By the narrative's midpoint, the Mortlakes teeter on madness. Reginald, Amelia's grandson, inherits in the Victorian haze. The estate, now a sprawling Gothic pile, hosts the elite under guises of philanthropy. But beneath, in catacombs expanded from Dee's cellars, Reginald conducts horrors. He lures vagrants, promising cure for ailments, only to bind them in rituals. The air reeks of formaldehyde and fear. His daughter Victoria witnesses it all, a child peeking through keyholes, seeing shadows devour the living. Victoria grows into a siren of secrets, marrying Lord Harrington in 1885. Their union spawns heirs, each afflicted birthmarks that pulse, voices in the walls. One son, Arthur, drowns in his bath at age 7, though the water was shallow. Another, Beatrice, vanishes during a garden party, her laughter echoing long after. Victoria's diaries reveal the truth. The guardian feeds on our prosperity. The more we rise, the deeper it pulls. As part I draws to a close, the stage is set for escalation. The 20th century dawns, bringing wars and wonders, but for the Mortlakes only deeper darkness. Edmund, the last heir, inherits a crumbling legacy, his mind frayed by visions. The estate whispers constantly now, doors opening to voids. He knows the end nears, but what form will it take? The fog thickens, dear listener, the hunger stirs. Now, as the veil thins further, we plunge into the heart of the Mortlake abyss. The 20th century arrives like a spectre at dawn, its promises of progress mocking the family's ancient curse. Edmund Mortlake, born in 1890 amid the estate's decaying splendor, inherits not just stone and secrets, but a symphony of screams echoing through his blood. Tall and gaunt, with eyes like polished onyx, Edmund serves in the Great War, where trenches become metaphors for his soul, mired in mud, haunted by the dead. Returning in 1919, he finds the estate alive with malice vines choke windows, rooms shift like labyrinth puzzles. His wife Clara, a fragile beauty from the colonies, senses it immediately. This house breathes, she whispers on their wedding night as candles gutter in unseen winds. Edmund, desperate to sever the legacy, consults occultists. Aleister Crowley himself visits in 1921, his presence a whirlwind of incense and ego. Crowley examines Dee's relics, chanting over the obsidian shard. The guardian is no mere spirit, he intones. It is the land's wrath, bound by Dee's folly. They attempt a banishment, a circle of salt and silver, invocations in forgotten tongues. But midway, the room floods with illusory water, rising to their knees. Clara, pregnant, clutches her belly as shadows nip at her heels. Crowley flees, muttering of unquenchable hungers. Clara miscarries that night, her blood staining the floors in sigil patterns. Undaunted, Edmund delves into modernism's tools. He installs electric lights, banishing shadows, or so he thinks. But the bulbs flicker with ethereal faces, circuits humming ancient chants. In 1923, he hosts the fateful Say Ain'ts. Guests include medium skeptic and a descendant of Ilara Voss, a woman named Mira with the same storm cloud eyes. The table is set in the sealed chamber, now unlocked after centuries. Candles of black wax burn, a planchette rests on a Ouija board etched with Dee's sigils. As midnight tolls, hands link, Mira channels, "Who speaks?" The planchette jerks, "Guardian," questions pour, "What do you want?" Blood, the air chills, breaths fog. Suddenly, water seeps from walls, not droplets but torrents, defying gravity. Guests panic, chairs overturn, shadows solidify into forms. Elias, Theodore, Amelia, twisted caricatures, mouths agape in silent howls. Edmund stands defiant, "Head this curse!" But the guardian manifests, a colossal silhouette, tendrils lashing. It envelops Mira first, her body unraveling like smoke. Screams blend with rushing water, the room spins. Dawn finds the chamber empty, save for Edmund's journal. It took them all. I remain, but for how long? He vanishes days later, the estate locked, but the legacy persists. In the 1930s, urban explorers breach the gates. One, a journalist named Harlan Gray, documents horrors, walls inscribed with fresh runes, air thick with whispers. His photographs show orbs, souls trapped. He disappears mid-investigation, his camera found with final shots, blurred figures dragging him into shadows. World War II brings blitzes, but Mortlake stands defiant, its cellars sheltering locals who report nightmares bleeding into reality. Post-war, the estate falls to ruin, claimed by the National Trust in 1955 as a historical site. Curators experience anomalies, artifacts, moving voices on recordings. In 1967, a parapsychologist team investigates. Led by Dr. Alina Voss, another descendant, they set up equipment, EMF meters spike, thermal cams capture cold spots shaped like hands. During a EVP session, voices respond, "Mortlake, hunger, join us." One night, the team awakens to flooding, water rising impossibly. Dr. Voss, recognizing the signs, attempts a ward, but tendrils emerge from vents, coiling around limbs. Two team members fade, dissolving into mist. Voss escapes, her report sealed. The Guardian evolves, feeding on curiosity now. The 1980s usher urban legends, teens dare each other to enter, some never return. In 1992, a film crew shoots a documentary. Director Silas Reed captures footage as shadows detaching, whispers syncing with Dee's Enochian. During editing, crew members vanish, one by one, their screams embedded in audio tracks. The film, unreleased, circulates underground. Viewers reporting dreams of drowning. Enter the digital age. In 2005, a blogger named Aria Croft, Barnabas's distant kin, posts about Mortlake. Her site details anomalies, geotagged photos warping, followers dreaming shared visions. Aria visits, live streaming. Viewers watch as fog engulfs her, her feed glitches showing ancestral faces. She vanishes mid-broadcast, chat flooded with, "Join the legacy." Recent years amplify the terror. In 2018, developers eye the site for condos. Surveys reveal anomalies. Ground-penetrating radar shows voids, tomes. Workers report tools vanishing, shadows whispering names. One foreman drowns in a dry pit. body contorted. Protests halt plans, the estate remains a sentinel of secrets. As we near the end of this narrative arc, consider the present. Whispers online sightings of Edmund, like figures on the Thames banks. DNA tests on relics suggest living descendants, unaware carriers. The guardian, patient as eternity, waits. Has the legacy truly ended, or does it lurk in your bloodline, dear listener? The fog calls. Answer at your peril. Let us pause amid the swirling mists of our tale to unearth the bones of history that give flesh to the Mortlake legend. For every shadow in our narrative casts from real lanterns of the past, blending fact with the folklore that chills the soul. Mortlake, this unassuming Thames side village, has long been a nexus of the arcane, its soil soaked in secrets since Roman times. Archaeological digs reveal pagan altars where druids invoked river gods. Entities akin to our guardian, demanding blood for bountiful harvests. The Thames, that serpentine artery, was revered and feared. Ancient Britons cast offerings into its depths, whispering of water spirits that claimed the unworthy. These legends persist in folklore, kelpies and nixies, shape-shifting lures that drown the greedy. Enter John Dee, the historical fulcrum of our dynasty. Born in 1527, Dee was no myth. He served Queen Elizabeth I as astrologer, navigator, and spy. His Mortlake home housed Europe's largest library, 4,000 volumes on mathematics, astronomy, and the occult. Dee's scrying sessions with Edward Kelly invoked angels via crystal balls and obsidian mirrors. Artifacts now in museums, whispering of Enochian language, a tongue said to command creation. But Dee's ambitions bordered madness. His 1583 voyage to Poland left Mortlake vulnerable, mirroring our tale's illicit union. Historical records note Dee's assistants vanishing mysteriously, bodies fished from the river, echoes of Barnabas's fate. The 17th century, scarred by civil war, amplified occult fervor. Secret societies like the Rosicrucians flourished, their manifestos promising alchemical gold and eternal life. Theodore's coven draws from this masked rituals in hidden chambers, blending hermeticism with folk magic. The era's witch hunts, over 500 executed in England, fueled paranoia. Mortlake villagers, per archives, accused neighbors of sorcery, their testimonies riddled with shadow beasts and rever hungers. Isabella's withering parallels historical accounts of wasting sickness, attributed to curses, now linked to psychological trauma or ergot poisoning, but in our eerie lens, something more sinister. The Enlightenment, with its rational blaze, sought to banish such shadows, yet figures like Amelia reflect real polymaths, Mary Somerville or Ada Lovelace, women defying norms in science. But occult undercurrents persisted. The Hellfire Club, led by Sir Francis Dashwood, hosted debauched rites in caves, invoking pagan gods. Mortlake's proximity to London placed it in this web. Rumours of Dee's relics circulating in black markets. Amelia's unraveling evokes 18th century mesmerism experiments where hypnosis induced visions of dissolution, blending with folklore of fairy abduction, where victims fade from reality. Victorian England, that Gothic pinnacle, birthed our Reginald and Victoria. The era's spiritualism boom, over 1 million adherents by 1850, saw seances in every parlour. The Fox sisters' rappings ignited a craze. Mediums like Daniel Douglas home levitated, channeling the dead. Reginald's sanatorium mirrors real asylums like Bethlehem, where moral therapy masked horrors. But occult ties run deep. The Golden Dawn, founded in 1887, included Yeats and Crowley, practicing Dee's Enochian magic. Victoria's stigmata, echo stigmata cases like Therese Newman, blending religious ecstasy with psychosomatic wounds. The Thames, polluted and fog-shrouded, inspired tales like The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, analogues, river ghosts claiming souls. The 20th century wove modernism with ancient dread. Edmund's War echoes shell shock cases, where veterans reported spectral visitations. Crowley's real 1920s exploits included invocations gone awry, participants claiming possession. Post-Dewey parapsychology via Rhine's Duke experiments tested ESP, mirroring Dr. Voss's tools. Urban legends of the 1980s, fueled by VHS horrors, parallel our film crew, cursed tapes, like the real Ring folklore, where viewers die after watching. Culturally, the Mortlake legacy taps universal archetypes. River deities span myths, Egyptian Osiris drowned and reborn, Hindu Ganga devouring sins, vanishing families evoke Roanoke's lost colony, or the Mary Celeste, empty vessels, silent horrors. In British folklore, black shucks and Barghest guard thresholds, akin to our guardian. Psychological anthropology links these to cultural trauma plagues, wars, industrial ills manifesting as supernatural famine. Blending fact and folklore creates unsettling authenticity. D's real journals, housed in the British Library, detail angelic commands. Did they summon something else? Mortlake's real estate records show unexplained ownership gaps, vanishings in parish logs. Modern ghost hunts at similar sites report EVPs echoing our whispers. This context isn't mere backdrop, it's the soil from which nightmares sprout, reminding us history's shadows are long and they hunger. As the echoes of history fade into the ether, let us dissect the Mortlake legacy with the precision of a surgeon's blade, revealing the pulsing heart of human darkness beneath. This is no mere ghost story, it is a mirror to our collective psyche, reflecting universal fears that slither through the cracks of sanity. At its core lies the theme of inherited sin, a blood-stained baton passed through generations. The Mortlakes embody the Aristotelian notion of hamartia, fatal flaw, not as individual error, but as a familial contagion. Elias's conception in Forbidden Union sets the chain, each hair like Oedipus, doomed by ancestors' hubris. Psychologically, this evokes intergenerational trauma, as theorized by Freud in Totem and Taboo, where primal sins reverberate, manifesting as neuroses or, in our tale, literal unravelings. Symbolically, the guardian represents the repressed unconscious, a Jungian shadow archetype bound to the collective. The Thames, that murky vein, symbolizes the ide's depths, untamed instincts rising to claim the ego's illusions. These scrying mirrors, portals to the self's abyss, echoing Lacan's mirror stage, where identity fractures upon recognizing the other. The family's vanishings, fading limb by limb, mirror existential dread. Sartre's nausea at being, in itself dissolving into nothingness. Yet its cultural trauma amplified England's imperial sins, from colonial plunder to industrial exploitation, birthing a hunger that devours its own. Consider universal fears, the terror of legacy. In a world of DNA tests and ancestry apps, the Mortlakes warn of unearthed skeletons, not metaphorical but spectral. This connects to human nature's duality, ambition versus consequence. Elias's pursuit of knowledge parallels Faust's pact, trading soul for insight. Each generation's escalation, from alchemy to science to seances, illustrates hubris's evolution, a Promethean fire that burns the thief. Thematically, it's a critique of enlightenment, reason's light casts longer shadows, as Adorno and Horkheimer argued in Dialectic of Enlightenment. Progress birthing monsters. Ominously, the story probes cultural amnesia. Forgotten bloodlines, like the Mortlakes, haunt because society buries its horrors, witch trials, asylums, wars. The guardian feeds on prosperity, symbolizing capitalism's veracity, wealth built on exploitation, demanding tribute. In folklore terms, it's a Wendigo myth variant, insatiable hunger born of taboo, consuming the self. Psychologically, this taps attachment theory, dysfunctional bonds to cursed heritage, where escape means dissolution. Thematically, water's motif, drownings, floods, evokes primordial fears. From biblical deluges to tsunami traumas, it symbolizes overwhelming subconscious, washing away identity. The estate, a Gothic archetype per Walpole's Otranto, becomes a character living, breathing malice, reflecting haunted house tropes where architecture imprisons the soul. Intellectually, the legacy interrogates free will versus determinism. Are the Mortlakes victims or perpetrators? Edmund's defiance suggests agency, yet the curse's inevitability posits fatalism, echoing Calvinist predestination, where damnation is inscribed in blood. This connects to modern anxieties, genetic determinism, where traits like madness lurk in genomes. Ominous undertones reveal human nature's darkness, curiosity as curse. Aria's blogging mirrors our digital age, where sharing secrets summons horrors, viral memes as modern incantations. Thematically, it's a cautionary tale on knowledge. Forbidden fruit not just eaten, but cultivated into orchards of doom. In exploring these layers, the Mortlake legacy transcends narrative, becoming a philosophical spectre. It haunts because it resonates our fears of inheritance, the unknown, the self's dissolution. As Nietzsche warned, gazing into abysses invites reciprocation. The throne of nightmares beckons. Sit and ponder your own stained legacy. As our journey through the Mortlake mists draws to its inexorable close, let the weight of untold secrets settle upon you like a shroud. We have traversed centuries of shadowed ambition, from Elias's illicit birth to Edmund's vanishing scream, each thread binding tighter the noose of legacy. The Guardian, that primordial devourer, slumbers not in defeat but in patient vigil, its hunger sated, yet eternal. The estate stands today, a crumbling sentinel on the Thames, its windows like vacant eyes watching the world rush by. Developers circle like vultures, but whispers persist, plans abandoned mid-draft, architects plagued by dreams of unraveling. Is it mere coincidence, or does the bloodline endure, hidden in plain sight? Perhaps in your neighbor, your mirror. Reflect on the chilling symmetry, a dynasty risen from arcane whispers, felled by the very echoes they summoned. John Dee's angels were harbingers, not saviors, the Mortlakes, their unwitting vessels. In their tale lies a universal lament, the human thirst for more, be it knowledge, power, or immortality, inevitably birthing monstrosities. The vanishings, those spectral erasures, remind us of fragility, how easily we dissolve into the fog of forgotten history. Yet, the legacy lingers, a stain that time cannot bleach. Online forums buzz with sightings, ethereal figures on river cams, EVPs chanting Enochian in static. Descendants, anonymous, share nightmares, drowning in ink, hands pulling from depths. The curse evolves, adapting to our wired world, feeding on clicks and shares. What if the Guardian is not bound to Mortlake alone? Folklore whispers of similar entities worldwide, river gods in the Nile, lake monsters in Loch Ness, guardians of thresholds exacting tolls. Our story connects to these, a global web of dark pacts. In ending, we pose the lingering question, does breaking a curse require sacrifice or merely acceptance? Edmund's final stand suggests the former, the estate's persistence, the latter. Perhaps the true horror is inaction, allowing the hunger to spread unchecked. As the clock tolls its final chime, feel the chill recede, or does it deepen? The throne of nightmares releases you now, but remember, some tales cling like riverweed, dragging you under when least expected. Sleep uneasy, dear listener, the Mortlake legacy whispers your name in the dark. Until next time, when another forgotten horror ascends the throne, good night.